All right. Hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. So, let me tell you what this show is about. So, this is the show where we like to have real talk about real things. We like to talk about things in education, employment, physical health, mental health. We've done topics about homeschooling, artificial intelligence, self care. We like to talk about all that mushy stuff, but all with the purpose of you being better than how you were yesterday, right? So, this is a learning experience as it is a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So, all of this is for you to learn something. Um, okay. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So let's get into the topic for today. So the topic today is a repeat topic. It is a favorite topic, and I'm bringing it back for the fifth time. And that topic is study abroad. That's right. So this is the fifth time that I have brought this topic back, study abroad, part five. And let me tell you the guest who is going to help me this time. So her name is Jia Barclay. And let me tell you about her. So Jia Barclay is the founder and owner of her company, 876, but it's spelled ATE, the number seven, and then the number six spelled out. It's a boutique travel agency specializing in creative travel and culinary experiences. So, anytime I have an opportunity to shout out an entrepreneur, I will do that. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Gia to the stage. Hi, Gia, how you doing today?
Hi, hi, hi. Hello, I'm doing well.
Awesome. All right, so today we're going to talk about your experience studying abroad.
hmm
You have an interesting experience, and I see that it actually trickled into your business or it
hmm
influenced your business in a way. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let you tell your story, please.
yeah, it feels like it's loaded. So I studied abroad in Italy in 2016 in like my last semesters of college, and I went to study culinary arts at the foot of the Alps in Italy. And yeah, it was it was quiet. It was quite an experience. I stayed out there for a semester, and yeah, a lot happened and turned me into the person I am today.
Well, let's pick at that. All right. So, how did you, what made you decide to study abroad, first of all? What made you take that crazy leap?
I was in college and I heard the idea floating around that the opportunity would present itself to study abroad in Italy. And what if the rumors were true or not? I was like, oh well, obviously I'm going to study abroad, like duh. Um, so I started digging before anything was officially announced. I was like, okay, listen, how you doing? What do I have to do to be one of the few selected to study abroad? And I kind of was just on that path of finding out what are the requirements so that I can get selected for this program.
All right. So you heard the rumors, you wanted to do it. So was this so you specifically wanted to go to Italy, or were there other countries that were available? And so what made you choose Italy? Were there other opportunities to go to other countries?
The program that they were doing was in Italy, and for me that was like perfect anyway because like that's I mean who doesn't want to go to Italy? So it was a combination of both. It was both oh my goodness I get to go to Italy and also I get to study abroad. So it felt like it was perfect and fitting and the right timing and everything. So I'm like, well, I have to do this semester anyway. If I can do this particular semester abroad, I'm just gonna hop on that opportunity.
And what was the program?
Um, the they had a partnership with a culinary school, in Italy for you to do your semester there at their culinary school. So I would be learning all of the classic Italian techniques and everything that I would normally be using, be studying in my kitchen classes in school, but I would learn over there for that semester. So just all of my culinary things I would learn um, at that school in Italy.
So you were already studying culinary arts in college,
Yes.
and you heard about this program. It's pretty much sort of pretty much the same thing that you're doing, but in Italy
Right, for that semester, yes.
for that semester. Okay. So you just you thought, why not? It's a chance to go to Italy,
Hmm.
chance to go to another country. I'm already studying culinary arts, so let's go for it.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
So what was the process like in filling out the applications and signing up? Tell us about the process.
So you express interest through an application, and then you have to do a an essay, and I believe you needed a letter of recommendation as well. Also, you had to be in like really good standing academically, and then that was like the paperwork. But then the logistics of cooking was you needed to do a culinary demo to showcase your culinary expertise. And I kind of panicked a little bit because everyone else that was signing up for this, they were more on the cooking side of things. I was on pastry, so I know if you wanted me to do like pastry cream, no problem, but they wanted you to break down a bunch of chickens and do all these like classic cooking techniques that I wasn't familiar with in my day-to-day classes. So I just enlisted a chef. I'm like, hey, I'd like to go to Italy. They're asking me to break down chickens. How do you do that? They're asking me to do something called concasse a tomato. How do you do that? How do you do a tournée on a potato? What is that? And they took me under their wing and said, okay, grab the chickens out the fridge and let's do this so that I could practice with that. Then after you showcase your skills, they want you to also cook it classically, which I was prepping myself to do as well until last minute they decided that you know what, everyone probably knows how to cook, so we're going to pull that portion. I was very grateful, although I was prepped to do it if I had to. I was thankful that I didn't have to cook against actual people that have been making all these fancy dishes since they got there.
Oh, so that was that like a entrance exam in a way? Like they actually want you to they want to check your cooking skills?
Well, yeah, just to make sure that we can properly represent the school abroad, they want to make sure, okay, everyone's on the same level in terms of we can execute these things well and we don't look like a fool out out in those Italian streets. Yeah.
Oh, so as it turned out, you didn't need to do that.
Right. But I know how to do it if anything ever comes up.
All right. But um so that was a chef you worked with. So did you have to pay for that, or was it a friend?
No, it was one of the professors at the school. I just asked him, I said, this can you please help me learn how to do these skills to better my chances of going to the Italian study abroad program.
Oh, no, the professor was nice enough to help you.
Yeah, he was nice enough. I was in his class. He's like, fine, just listen. Like, this is really good Italian man. He's like, listen, get the chickens, just hurry up. I'm like, okay, okay. So I was just gonna take it. Talk to me, however, just let me get it done.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So you know, so it was one of the things that you thought were required, and you took that extra step. You went to your professor, right? Say, please help me with this. The professor was nice enough, and as it turned out, you didn't really need to do it, but you took that extra step to
Mm-hmm.
better yourself as a
Right.
cook. All right, so off to Italy. Um, so now, well, was there any issues well, before we get there,
Mm-hmm.
um, were there any issues paying for the school? How were the finances?
So when you go to a financial aid office, they basically just kind of offset the cost that you would be paying for that semester anyway there and seeing what the remainder would be. So they kind of rolled over that tuition that you would pay, they, towards that. And I paid the difference. I don't think it was a ton, but I paid the difference because it would be, a little bit more money to go out there. But for the most part, I was covered, thankfully, by my financial aid and the grants that I had received.
Okay.
Mhm.
So this so where you the school you went to in Italy, was it part of the school you were in already? Or like was it under the same school?
Oh
School?
no, no, it's not another campus. It they kind of partnered up for this particular program. They had just, I guess they've been in the talks for years, but they finally made it official that our students would be sent over to that location. And so it's a completely unrelated school, but the programs, they've kind of formulated some kind of relationship where we send our students over to there to learn for the semester.
Oh, okay. And then the school okay. All
Mhm.
right, wonderful. So school partnerships, that's so it's not like you had to go apply to a completely different school.
Oh yeah,
It was
no.
already
Yeah.
the partnership was already there, so
Hmm.
it was easy to just use your financial aid.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so now off to Italy, right?
Yeah.
All right, so where in Italy? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was it's a place called Brussia. It's so way up north. I've never heard of it either. Someone said Russia. I'm like, no, no, no. It's like at the foot of the Swiss Alps, way northern. So I didn't think it was going to be super different, but I was wrong. It was it was definitely different than the Italy that you see on TV.
Well, tell us about your your observation of
Mhm.
the town.
So they had us living about 45 minutes further than the school, and that was a very, very small town. It was a vacation town, so like it would just shut down after a month of us being there. It was just like, nobody was there. So that place was called Minerva. No one in Italy has ever heard of it. It's just like a dot on the map. But the actual place that we went to, Russia, yeah, the people are paler. We're further up north, and the food is different, and they just see 8 minorities walk in, and they let us know we've never seen anything like this, before. I would We would have gotten away with it if we were in like Sicily, but they were like, who are these people? I don't know if they got the memo that people were coming into their school, but definitely no one that looks like us. So we got iced out. Like they were not really warming up to us in the first couple weeks. I'd say almost a month in. They would just whisper, whisper, poke, poke, laughing, talking about us in Italian. Yeah, we definitely did not fit in. And then the professors, they spoke English for the most part. We did have a translator. But they didn't really understand American humor or that kind of stuff. They kind of thought we were taking it as a joke, and really we were just trying to just cook and have a good time. So I think that got lost in translation as well.
So there's a number of things, right? So
Yeah.
you faced yeah, because I also studied abroad in Italy, but I was in Rome. So and
Hmm.
Rome is more excuse me, it's more like metropolis.
Hmm.
So in terms of different skin colors and different races, it's more familiar in
Right.
that part of Italy, but you went
Where?
further north, right? Way north, beyond
Way. Yeah,
summer. So so it's not a lot of racial diversity there.
definitely not.
So but then the school you went to
Hmm.
was the students, it was 8 minorities there, you
Well,
said?
that's from our school. So it was 8 of us that walked into their Italian world, and they let us know that you're not one of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you get like the backlot? Like, did they say
Yeah.
anything to you, or were they like,
Um, they're not as direct as us, in some aspects. So they're definitely going to talk behind your back and point and kind of laugh because we look odd to them. Just very much if we sit down, it's like classic, movie scene. Sit at a lunch table, they want no parts. They're scoot down way over, where they are. They just kind of wanted to keep to themselves. They didn't really understand what was happening with us at all. Eventually, they totally warmed up to us, and I know they're probably kicking themselves like we should have just spoken to them. They're people too, but they definitely didn't understand how we looked, how we spoke, how we dressed. They didn't get it.
So it's like you were like complete aliens to them.
Complete, like people would like poke us or like pull your like what? Never. I'm like, okay, you have TV? No, I don't know. I don't know. They just couldn't. They couldn't relate. They couldn't understand.
Right. And that's, that's one of the things um, about going to another country, especially not just another country, but depending on where in the country you go.
Mhm.
So you went to a town that, again, doesn't really have a lot of racial diversity. So they were probably looking at you like, whoa, I've never seen you before.
Yeah, yeah, literally never seen us before. And of course, when I'm there, I happen to go on the news twice. And I'm like, now they saw no brown people. Now they're seeing just us, but now on TV. I'm like, oh boy. So
Wait, on the news, what happened there?
I think that it's a smaller town, so the news came over like, oh, American, students in this Italian school, and they're like, who's gonna speak from your school? The way how they pushed me in front of that camera and the rest of the people that I came with kind of went, no, 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 you go talk. We're not talking. I'm like, hi. And they'd ask me just basic questions like, so what's your favorite part of being in Italy? And are people nice here? And then stuff like that. And I, truthful in my way of being truthful, I think there just needs to be more interaction, stuff like that. And what's my favorite kind of gelato and all that. But, and yeah, so there's little culinary segments, little study abroad segments that they put us on the news for. So I mean, maybe that helped. Who knows? But people eventually warm up when you're now on the up and up. So they
So I
changed it.
guess being on TV helped.
I mean, it might have helped. Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, you might have been the first Black people they saw. So I
Really,
guess,
yeah,
yeah.
I
you're, a,
know.
you're a trendsetter.
I thought.
All right. So
Mhm,
now let's get into the school. So tell us
mhm,
about the school. What did you learn?
mhm.
How were the classes?
Classes were so long. We were cooking for 8 hours a day, so we don't actually do our schoolwork until we go back home 45 minutes away. Then we start doing our business and marketing and all that. But the second that we're there from like 8 to like 3 p.m. or so, we are just cooking Italian sauces, pastas from scratch, pizzas from scratch, risotto, everything. They had a theme every day or a different region that we're going to study per week, and we would just get right into what are the classic dishes from that region, and then we would all cook and compare. We just cooked tons and tons of stuff, brought a lot of stuff home. But really knowing the history of the region and everything. And eventually we took like field trips, like we went to Parma to see Parmesan being made and prosciutto and stuff like that. But just standing on our feet all day cooking, and then eventually twice a week from like for 2 hours we would go to Italian lessons. They really wanted us like integrated into the culture and not just saying like hi, but learning what buongiorno was, like saying good morning and stuff like that. It was difficult for me to I'm not naturally a native tongue of Spanish or anything like that, but all of the Hispanic people that went there were able to quickly pick up on Italian. They're like cousins. So I'm like, my little French here and there that I learned in school, it does not help you with Italian whatsoever. So I'm just like, what's the word again? What's happening? Um yeah, the chefs were pretty nice. Eventually they learned their personalities, but initially they're just like, get up here, let's do this bread, let's do it. Like they more care about the outcome. They think that you really really care about the food if it comes out well. It doesn't matter that you're all having a good time and whatever, you burnt the pasta, you burnt the rice. So they're I think they reported back to my school that, listen, I don't know if these kids are really serious. And we had to kind of explain, like, no, we really do love this. We're super appreciative. So definitely lost in translation a lot of things with our humor, and sarcasm does not translate well. Don't don't go over there trying to be like, oh yeah, that's funny. They're like, what's funny? So yeah, so a couple of favorite people and a couple of people that are just more no nonsense, and you just know to go in there, get the job done, don't say anything, come back out. Everything was an experience.
So now, how is it different from your classes back in back in your state?
Um, we would do a few cooking classes for maybe like 5 hours, a couple of times a week. It wasn't all day we're cooking. It was definitely more balanced with go to a business class, go to a cooking class, then you would go to your managerial accounting. So it was a nice balance with that. We weren't just, hey, we're gonna cook all day, every day, 5 days a week for months, you know. So you're just not prepared to be that burnt out. Plus, I never got adjusted to the time difference. It's 6 hours ahead. I never got adjusted. Some people are like, oh, after the first couple of days, the whole time. 6 hours is a lot. So we were just up and we'd be falling asleep in class, and they took that as disrespect, but they just didn't understand that. Out their midnight was really, it feels like 6 p.m. to us. So we're just up, and all of a sudden we're like, we have 3 hours until we have to leave for school. So it was a lot of adjustments, and I felt like every day I had to recalibrate. Like, okay, what are we doing today? What are we doing today? How do I how do I get adjusted to that? I never quite found my footing with anything because it was overwhelming, and it was a lot of time management was crucial. We did nothing for the first month. We didn't go anywhere. Nothing. We were just trying to get adjusted.
And that can be a lot too with the
Mhm.
jet lag and the time difference, and
Mhm.
yeah, and then it's especially when you're cooking for longer days, so it's an adjustment in that. What state are you from again? I'm sorry, it's DC.
What's who?
I mean, what school did you go to?
Oh, the name of the Italian school or my school?
Your school,
Monroe College.
Monroe College. So while you were in Monroe College, you're used to shorter classes, different different types of classes going on at one time. But now you're in Italy, so now you have longer classes, less difference, right? So and now you're 6 hours away, not
Yeah.
6 hours away. There's a 6 hour time difference,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So your body is adjusting to the different time zones. So all of that is happening
All
at
at once.
once.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Plus, you have your personal life too. I didn't pack up with my best friends and go to Italy. You kind of just, whoever got accepted, that was the group that you went with. Some of them already knew each other, were already pretty close. They were on like the junior team together. Like that's a culinary team where they were like regional champs and stuff. So they know how each other cooks, and they know each other's temperament. I'm figuring myself out while I'm figuring out other people. And I'm like knocking on doors and no one's answering. I'm like, oh, okay. So now I know in the morning, don't talk to you. As no one gives you a guidebook to know, by the way, this is how I am on this day. And I'm just like saying a joke and realizing, oh, wow, you're never going to talk to me again. Okay, cool. Just with these people that I'm with. But also, we only have each other while we're around the Italians. So we almost had to like connect in a forceful sort of way initially because we're all each other got. And then, eventually when they loosen up, we all branched out. We all have our little Italian friends. But initially we just have each other. It was a lot. Plus that year was really emotional for me. I just had just lost my grandfather. Then they're like, okay, great, you're going to Italy. I'm like, oh man, I'm a mess. So not feeling like I have that support system with me there. Definitely felt isolating at times.
And it's it can be isolating when, especially the group that you were with are all minorities. So you were forced to you were forced to connect
Yeah.
because of the um what's the word, of the this monogamous town that you were
Mhm.
that you were in. But then even within the group that you were in, you're dealing with people that were friends already. So it's like, okay, how do I connect? And then eventually that broke down, and you guys were able to, I guess the stress of the town forced you guys to connect, and the stress
Yeah,
of the school.
but even though it's a small group, I you would think, oh, 8 people, they're just gonna all be 8 strong. You split off into two, 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 and two, or four and four, or six and two, of just like who your pairing is in that group. It doesn't matter if we're a small group where we kind of come together for certain things, and then we scatter like roaches in other situations. I did meet someone cool in the group, that me and her got pretty close. Her name was Dej. So she kind of think it was very thankful for her, because at times I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to connect with anybody, or anything like that. So I felt like I connected with her, a couple others that, at the time, we were having a good time, and that kind of helped me out, when I was out there on alone.
So sometimes you need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
All right. So now the first month, you don't really go anywhere. You're kind of just, let's focus on school. All right. So what happened in the second month?
The second month we realized, oh no, it's a second month. Like this is like, and we realized we went nowhere. It was not planned, but we're like, okay, we have to at least spend some of these weekends. They gave us each a grant, I think accidentally, but they gave us each $1,500, which sounds like a ton of money. And then you're like, this is for a whole semester. Luckily, we did not go anywhere for the first month, so we're like, let's spend some of this money and like go out, like let's find an Airbnb for the weekend and go different places. I think the first one we kept it pretty easy. We went to a beautiful city called Verona. They're known for Romeo and Juliet, and I think about 5 or 6 of us went. Let me tell you, when you split an Airbnb like 5 or 6 ways, you just, everybody throws in like 20 or 30 euros, and you're living in like a pretty nice place. So we went there, and that was great. And then we're like, let's do this again next weekend. And I think we just wanted to go to like Milan or something. But I think as it got closer to like midterms and stuff like that, and the exams and the papers are due, the Wi-Fi is not the greatest. We're like, are we gonna choose to go places, or are we just gonna try to like stay inside and still figure stuff out? We took a couple losses. We were all like 4.0 students. We're like, listen, if we don't do this, then we can still get this grade in the class. Or if we do it late, we'll only get like this many points off. We had to calibrate how we could get around doing our work while still having a life, because we're still in Italy and we want to take advantage of that. So we helped each other out. Like, okay, let's do this. Let's not do that. This one is not that much of a percentage of our grade, so that we can just go out and explore. If not, we wouldn't have gone anywhere at all. And I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad that we just kind of maneuvered around the schoolwork so that we can explore different cities, at different times.
So you didn't want to be, just where it's like you're in a new country, but you're technically there for school. So
Yeah.
it's sort of like a balance where if we wanted to be in school all day, we would have just stayed home, right? So
Right, right, right. And it's weird because we are in school all day in Italy, but then we're also, when we come back home, have to start doing schoolwork that isn't cooking related. So I'm gonna start doing a bunch of essays. We still have like a full course load, like still 15 credits to do separate from Italian classes. That does not count towards any kind of credits for that semester. So we still had all 5 plus classes to start doing when we got home at like, 5:30 or something like that. I'm exhausted by that point. I stood all day, and if it's Italian day where you're doing the Italian classes, that's 10 hours that day. Um, so yeah, you just kind of get overwhelmed. You get super overwhelmed, and you want to reward yourself by going out or doing something.
so now so it's sort of like you have to barter, like we're gonna do this, we're not gonna do this,
Right.
so and I they gave you a grant. I didn't get a grant when I went. Everything was
Right.
self-pay, but they actually gave you, I guess, pocket change, like an
Yeah.
allowance, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You had the allowance and it was in euros. So it's like you might as well spend it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I found out towards the end that they didn't mean to give it to us, or like the next people that went next time, like the following year, did not get a grant. I think they were like, "Oops, we accidentally gave them each $1,500." I'm like, "Well, we're already here. We already got it. There's nothing we can really do about that. Sorry." But yeah, I had to barter all the time, and I made sure that my grades were at a point where I could barter and still come out on top. So I think that was what was good. If my grades weren't suffering, I'd have to be like, well, no, I have to do everything and get at least a B or an A on it, or I wouldn't survive. But we bartered. Plus, we kind of milked the Wi-Fi situation. It was not great, so we got a lot of extensions on things because they know that. Well, what are you gonna do? We're in the mountains and we don't have much Wi-Fi. We're in this hostel. You dropped us off in, this location. So what are you gonna do about it? It's like, okay, great. We have an extra day. We'll do that when we come back.
All right, awesome, awesome. And then that's the reality of things. Like, yeah, you're in this new country, but you're in school, right? So
Right.
you still have these classes, you still have to do essays, you still have to do all these other things, and it's like, okay, we're in school, we're in this whole new place, but we're still in school, right? So we still have to do school things,
Hmm.
but we also have to well, we don't want to, it's sort of like you don't want to be in school all day.
Right.
So, and it's sort of like you have to make your own fun because,
Oh yeah, you had to.
yeah.
There was no itinerary that was not educational related. You had to make your own fun.
So you went to Milan, you went to, where else did you go?
We went to Verona, we went to Milan. I think we wound up going to Milan twice for some reason. I don't know why. We shouldn't have gone the second time. We wound up in the outskirts of Milan, like in the mean old Milan streets. We were in the Milan hood, and I'm like, how did I not know that this is where we're staying? It just was not ideal. And at that point, we were burnt out of being around each other. So it we were a little bit miserable. Some people from our group wound up going to Venice. We were kind of supposed to go, and it didn't really work out that way. But I'm like, you know what? One day I will go to Venice, and it will be, when I'm in a better space with somebody as opposed to just going, even though we're not on the best of terms, to say, oh, we went to Venice. So we allowed them, they did their thing, they went. I'm sure they had a blast. And there was a lot more things on the bucket list. There just wasn't any time to do the Florence and the Pisa or whatever. But that's always more incentive just to return and do all those things.
Ah, okay. So, so now the third month you were there, did you do anything? Did you go anywhere?
Um, so they kind of did a weird thing where we weren't there for a full semester. Like the third month, like at the end of the second going into the third, they flew us back home, and we had to finish the semester there, like at home, but still doing all the online work. I don't know what the deal was with that, but I wasn't super thrilled about that. But
Hmm.
yeah, that kind of it was like a weird hybrid situation where we're in Italy now, we're not, but we're still we're still doing all the work that's required for that semester.
Oh, so you didn't actually finish the whole semester.
No, they did like a two-thirds thing. They told us it was going to be a semester, but I don't really, I don't know. We did 2 months there. It was an 8-week situation. I guess they figured, well, if we're not cooking there, that we're not staying there. I don't know what the requirements on their end was in terms of how long we could cook there, but I guess it was a 8-week program.
Mm. So you were thinking it's a full semester, but it was
Mhm.
actually shorter. So,
Yeah, it was 2 months there on site. Yeah.
oh, okay. So like, was it intended to be a full semester, but then it changed all of a sudden, or was it always
You
eight
know,
weeks and you were just misinformed?
I might have been misinformed. This was also the first time that they'd worked with this school, so we were kind of the guinea pigs in terms of figuring out all the kinks. Maybe the group after us went for a full semester. I know that they changed locations the second semester, not the school, but where they had them staying. It was in like downtown Brescia, and of course, like a smaller, not a giant situation like we had, but they were more centrally located the second time, and I know that was a different experience completely. So
Mhm.
Lord knows what they kind of tinkered with for the second, third, and fourth. The program only got better after us. We kind of got what we got
Mhm.
while they worked out the kinks.
So you were the pioneers of the program.
That's so much better than saying guinea pig. Yeah. The founding fathers
Yeah.
of that program. Absolutely, yeah.
Oh man. So now, what did you learn from all that? So you're back home, semester's over. What did you learn? What did you take from it?
Oh man, what didn't I take from it? I took everything from like money budgeting because I realized I brought the wrong debit card out there, and so
Mhm.
my money went quick. I was getting all these charges and all these fees. I'm like, oh wow. I learned everything from like that, like small stuff like that, to just an appreciation for the culture. And the thing with me, you can't give me a little taste of anything because that's it. That's what I'm having. If you get a little taste of caviar, you can't just go back to your like Wonder Bread and whatever you were eating the next day, you know? So I got a taste of travel like solo, like without my family, and I loved it. I loved learning the language and the food and the culture. I loved everything that I took away from it. I fought through a lot of emotional things that had happened to me, things that I kind of casted to the side all year. You can't really hide it when you're alone in in the mountains. And it's not like you have all your friends and all these distractions. It's just you and your thoughts. So I really had to get through a lot of things, and I really had to really reach out to, different people. I had to expand what I thought my support system was if it's not what it looks like back home. You meet cool people. There's definitely professors there that like love me, understand my humor now, you can't make any kind of assumptions that anyone's just going to get you or know who you are. So I had to branch out. I had to be more social. And it's not really me. I like being in my bubble, and I don't like leaving myself vulnerable to get critiqued personality wise, but I didn't really have, much of a choice. I learned just so much, and that kind of triggered me wanting to travel a lot more. Um, Everywhere, and then I kind of use food as an excuse. So I'm like, well, girls got to eat, and I wanted to just travel and be like Anthony Bourdain and just go all over the place and eat, and that's kind of what started that.
So now, what about cooking? So you were there. I mean, you were there in a cooking
Hmm.
school, right?
Yes.
You're a cooking major. I don't know if there's such thing as that.
Yeah.
So what did you learn in terms of cooking styles, techniques?
Hmm. um that Italian food truly is regional. I know that we're like, oh, okay, Parmesan, but the northern region does eggplant parm and all that different than if you were to go down south. They kind of just like lightly flour it and it just, and just fry it. As opposed to like the breadcrumbs and the thick coating that we're used to. The sauces vary because the inspiration is different. If you're up north, you're more by like Hungary and Germany and those countries. So that kind of inspires those meals more than if you're like down south, also, it's based on what you have access to, like most things in the world. So, um, if you're down south in Italy, the weather is warmer, so things like peppers and certain things can grow, and therefore the food is seasoned more aggressively with things that grow in more of a warmer tropical climate, as opposed to up north can get so cold, and whatever you have access to up there, it's going to be maybe more rice related. That's you're going to get more risotto up top maybe than you would down south, depending on this and wheat or rice, whatever they have access to. People like to use Parmigiano Reggiano for every term, but not every cheese has access to that. That's a regional cheese. In our region, Parmesan was not a part of, their day to day. They had a cheese called Grana Padano, which was their Parmesan, their kind of grated thing. It depends on if you have access to cows or sheep or whatever. It's not all the same. So I see that now, and how things, even if it's like the same dish, it's gonna taste differently depending on the region that it was created in. So definitely have a newfound respect for that, and looking forward to trying more stuff regionally when I go back.
Awesome, awesome.
Mhm.
So now, well, what about your cooking style techniques? Like, do you
Mhm.
find yourself seasoning your food more? Are you
Mhm.
letting things marinate overnight more? Like,
Mhm.
what about your personal style of cooking? Do you find that's changed?
I definitely think it's so important just to be really organized. It's something that you're taught, but when you're around no nonsense chefs, like you see how they cook and know that they won't turn this on unless this is done. They won't, throw this in unless all the vegetables are chopped. It's a lot more methodical and it makes for a more streamlined process when everything truly is in its place and you really just care about that quality just so much more than if you were to throw it together and at least it's done, right? They don't even want you to try it if it's not at the absolute best. And I really appreciate the thought and the energy and the passion that comes from food when you care that much and you want to take your time. It's like take your time but hurry up. But I think practicing in the right way to do things, speed will come. Never put speed first just to say you knocked it out and it just tastes like it's not the best that you can put forth. So definitely, I think the quality of my food has gone up just by really caring about quality ingredients done right, and I get compliments every time when I take that approach.
So you find yourself, because I know in America we're all about quick and speed and
Oh
fast.
man.
And so what you learn to actually slow down and do one step at a time.
Hmm.
And it's not so much about getting things done faster, it's getting things done right. And so
Hmm.
now you find yourself taking your time, maybe even longer than you usually would have to
Right. To
prepare
get
your food.
the outcome right. That's how I cook, but I think it's very important that just with the European culture in general, that's how they also enjoy their food. It gave me a lot of anxiety out there. I'm not gonna lie, I was just definitely freaking out because every time we'd start doing something for a couple of hours, I said, okay, we go for coffee, then we come back. I'm like, okay, I guess so. It would stress me out when we would take breaks. But they want to take these coffee breaks that they're like, oh, just 10 minutes. It's really like 20, 25 minutes, three times a day, like a multivitamin. Like we're just like, all right, coffee time. I'm like, I just put this on. Oh, turn it off. It's fine. It's coffee time. Like it's time for you to get coffee. Like I'm like, I'm like, okay, and it's supposed to make you relax, but I'm just like tightly wound and a New Yorker, like, well, oh, and it's going to take all day now because it is 15 minutes. But just they really value that time. They won't continue unless they have their coffee time and their 2 hour lunches and their like siestas and stuff like that. They'll go into their restaurants, and if you didn't come at the right time, come back in 4 hours when they're done resting and it's time for it to be dinner now. Just really sitting down, really enjoying. There's like no takeout. There's no, okay, let me grab a quick slice. You're sitting down to a whole pie and you're going to sit there, you're going to talk, enjoy your meal. It's almost frustrating because you just have to, it doesn't matter what you want to do. That's just what we're doing. So it doesn't matter what you say. Oh, I got to hurry up and do this. No, you don't, because we're here right now. We're here right now enjoying our meal. So enjoy. And eventually, maybe not in the moment, but you're like, fine, I'll try to enjoy my life. But you don't know how much you're rushing through things just to get to the next step. And the next step, you want to do the next step. Just, I guess, just take it easy with some things, you know?
To really value your time
Yeah.
and just, after you work, because you have 10-hour days,
Yeah.
might as well take a 2-hour break. Like,
It just, it sounds better now, but then it's just like, it doesn't make any sense because I mean, just give me 10 minutes and I'm good. I just need a glass of water and we can wrap this whole thing up. That's not what you got to blend into the culture, and that's what they do. So that's what you do.
awesome, awesome. All right, let's start to wind things down now. All right, so I like to ask my guests to share any words of wisdom with my audience. So, do you have any words of wisdom that you would like to share?
Yeah, don't let anyone guilt you into stagnancy. I don't like that. That's to make other people feel better about maybe their lack of growth, but it's okay to outgrow certain people, places and things and you're not fake or phony for not remaining the same. You don't owe anybody stagnancy so that they're more comfortable with what they're doing in their lives or anything. Eventually, you will just find your way, and eventually you'll meet people that are also kind of in the same headspace as you. You don't have to remain the same and, oh, this is my childhood friend, and that's fine. They can still be your childhood friend. It doesn't mean stay on this block or remain at this job. You don't owe that to anybody.
Beautiful, beautiful. And now your entire, just to go back. So now that, and when did you go, by the way? What year?
This is 2016 in the fall.
Okay, so now that you reflect on everything, and do you find yourself, do you consider yourself a better cook now? Do you appreciate the experience more? Do you
Hmm.
resent any
Oh,
resentments or
I can't say I resent anything, even though looking back, there's like, oh, well, you got into this small fight, or oh, you disagreed with this thing. It's all small in retrospect with the person that I've become now. I think I was afraid for a long time to call myself a chef. I'm like, oh, whatever I cook. I was trying to be like that whole thing, but I think I was doing myself a disservice and discrediting myself. So I definitely feel a lot more confident in my abilities, and feel comfortable calling myself a chef, which is what I am. And it's crazy to say, but it's just like, I don't know, sure. But I feel comfortable and confident, and definitely changed my outlook on my life. And I definitely credit it to a lot of things that I am right now. So yeah, for sure.
and you definitely went through a lot to call
Yeah.
yourself a chef. Like you went through, I don't know if I would call it racism, it's
Mhm.
just unfamiliarism, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
you went through unfamiliarism um to no nonsense professors, to a
Mhm.
whole culture shock,
Mhm.
to having dealing with your like dealing with the cliques in your group, to now to barely going anywhere and being under all this pressure. It's
Mhm.
And then your the loss of your grandfather, which you
Yeah.
didn't really have time to process, so you went through a lot emotionally at one time.
Yeah. I mean, looking back, yeah, definitely. At the time, I just got to keep going, but
Mhm.
yeah, definitely a lot. So I gave myself a lot more credit, and I'm okay with calling myself that. And I'm proud of myself for everything that I've gone through.
Well, and you should be. You
Hmm.
should be. All right. Well, Gia, thank you so much for coming on Hot Topics and telling your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So it is promo time. So let's get your stuff up there. All right. So, you guys, Gia Barclay. So she has her own business called 876, which is actually cute, but it's spelled ATE, the number seven, and then the number six spelled out, SIX. So you can learn more about her and all that she has to offer. So you could visit her online. It is ATE, the number seven, the word six, .com. And she doesn't have a lot of social media, so she's a simple person. She is on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all with the same account name, ATE, the number seven, and the word six, all at once. So I encourage you to follow her on social media, you guys, to learn more about her and her services. Well, let's talk about that. What are your services? What is your business? What are you all about?
Yeah, so I started my own travel agency, which seems fitting. And I like to specialize in a lot of culinary experiences. Even if you just want any vacation, I always try to make some recommendations food wise, because you're gonna eat at some point. So yeah, it's a luxury travel service. I'd like to handle everything for you. So that's the flights and the accommodations. That's all of your excursions for however big your party is. Some people do destination weddings. It doesn't really matter. Could be a girls' trip, a birthday trip, a bachelorette party, anything, any kind of crazy family vacation. I handle it from A to Z.
All right. So you plan out an entire day, pretty much.
Oh,
For
your whole vacation.
the
Anything
whole
you
vacation. Ah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your whole itinerary. Some people are just like, hey, I want to sit there and I don't want to do anything. Or some people are like, I want to be on the back of a camel and I
Mm,
want,
mhm.
somewhere in the desert. I'm like, okay, I got you. So people want different types of experiences, maybe more leisurely or more adventurous, or I know I love a good spa. So, um, anything you want, the world is your oyster. And so anything you want, I can plan.
And do you do like anywhere in the world, or is it certain places that you focus on?
I do anywhere in the world. Of course, I specialize in, I'm very comfortable with Europe and Central and South America, as well as the Caribbean, me being of Jamaican descent. So those is just like second nature to me. If you would like some kind of African safari, we can do that as well. You know what I mean? So everything is doable, and as long as I'm given a decent amount of time, I can make it the best experience for you. I know some people are like, listen, I gotta leave tomorrow and I'm leaving for 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, no, it does not work like this. um, so definitely allow yourself the time so that I can make you have a fantastic vacation.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. All right. So how do you find the places to go? Like, is it a lot of research? Do you already know?
Everything is always going to be research, even if I've been someplace 1,000 times, because you might have a different vision for what you want your vacation to be. So, maybe when I went to Mexico, I sat on a beach all day. But maybe when you want to go, you want to do all these things. So I have everything's always going to be customized to you. I don't have any set itineraries that I just copy and paste. So I really do, have a discovery call, really find out what kind of trip you're looking for. Sometimes you're traveling with your kid and you're like, "Oh, well, I want a place where he can do this, but I can do this with my husband and we can go here." I have to find the perfect place for you. And if somebody would like to do that and go to the same place, their itinerary is going to be totally different. They don't have a kid, they don't have a husband. They just want to go out there and meet people and maybe flirt and eat good food. That's a totally different trip. So it's always going to be different, even if I've gone there or not. So everything requires a ton of research.
All right, there you go. So there you have it. So if you guys are looking to go anywhere in the world, and you want it planned out, like myself, like I can't just go anywhere and just like I don't like I need something to do, right? So if if you're going to another country or another state rather, right?
Right.
And you just, hey, I need something to do, hit up Gia, right? So she'll plan all that out for you ahead of time. So she's a travel agent, she's a guide, she'll figure it all out for you.
Mhm.
And you also do hotels as well.
Yep,
Hotels.
accommodations, your private transportation from the hotel to the airport, from the airport to the hotel. If you want cruises, any kind of trip that you want. Some people want a combination of stuff, like I want to cruise from here, but when I get off here, I want to get a rent a car to go to this. Sure.
All right, there you go. So if you want it planned to the detail, Gia is your girl. So if you are looking for any kind of travel prep services, you want your itinerary planned out, whatever it is, Gia is your girl. So I'm just going to say the website again. It is ATE, the number seven, the word six.com, all one word. You can also follow her on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, all with the account name ATE number seven, word six. That information, of course, is at the bottom of your screen if you just so happen to be watching this on video. But if you are listening to this on a podcast, don't fret. All of this information, of course, will be in the description. All right, so Gia, thank you again for coming on Hot Topics. This is very, very enlightening.
Thank you so much.
All right, I will place you backstage now. And it is just you and me, guys. All right, so we have reached the conclusion of yet another episode. My God. Thank you guys for joining me on this ride, whether you're listening to this in the later on or whenever you're listening to this episode or watching this episode. Thank you again for joining me on Hot Topics. So let me just take this moment to remind you that Hot Topics is a production of my company, A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you or your child, if you're struggling with them papers, if you're struggling with time management, turning in homework assignments, if you are getting those promotion and doubts, if you're struggling with those exams, you want to prep for those exams, maybe the SAT is coming up, or if you're a New Yorker, the SHSAT is coming up, and you're trying to get your kid into those specialized high schools, reach out to us. Our tutors can help. Our website is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. You could also follow us on social media. Just type in A Step Ahead Tutoring Services and we will just pop up. And we are on multiple platforms, so make sure you check us out and make sure you follow us. So again, just type in A Step Ahead Tutoring Services on multiple platforms and we will just pop up. Look for the pencil logo with the gray and black tip. That is us. So if you're looking for any kind of academic service, whether it's editing and proofreading, test prep, one-on-one counseling, what else do we do? College counseling as well. We also have a variety of workshops going on as well. So if you are in need of any of those services, or maybe you're a tutor yourself and you're trying to get into the tutoring world, and maybe you just need some consultation, we do that as well. We dabble in that as well. So hit us up. Again, I will give you the website. It is www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. So I encourage you to check us out. While I'm here, I also encourage you to drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know your feedback. I want to know your thoughts about this episode. What did you like about this episode? What didn't you like? Did you learn anything? Did you not learn anything? Do you have more questions? So whatever it is, please put it in the comment section or in the comment thread, or drop a rating, drop a note, drop something. But please help our algorithm by leaving a note somewhere wherever you are taking in this episode. So all feedback will be appreciated. All right, you guys, thank you again for watching or listening to yet another episode of Hot Topics. So I look forward to you joining me at the next episode. Thank you again. And now, as always, I am signing off. Bye, guys.